the City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 341 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. That's right, we're calling this one Not Enough for very obvious reasons, as we scraped away with a draw with a man advantage in Portland and have to come home, of course, to a much better team this week. Of course, that wasn't the only news. We do have to cover Open Cup news, right? We actually know who we're going to play for that. We've got rule changes that take effect this weekend because nothing says MLS like changing the rules quarter way into the season. We've got plenty to talk about with the league. There's just all kinds of stuff going down. So we've got you covered. Of course, we're going to preview the match big time this weekend because Red Bull might be the toughest team we've played yet. And so it should be a good update. Actually, one of the most exciting teams we'll get to see this season, proving it pretty early. We might make some fun of some European sides because, you know, Tony's here and I love doing that to him. And yes, more and more and more. Of course, we've got Araceli, we've got Tony, and we've got Bam on the road. Hopefully he catches us and hears us, but he'll be jumping on, of course, as well to talk about some things. Of course, Vinyl Club Minute will be here too. First things first, Tony, congratulations on Roma getting through the next round. It's a fine tournament. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, congrats, man. That was actually a great win by your boys.
Oh, it was a stressful win. It was 2 quick goals in 10 minutes and then a red card for the rest of for about 60 minutes. And boy, now, mind you, it's against another Serie A team, Milan, and it was such a good feeling because, you know, especially with the coach of De Rossi coming back, coaching after Mourinho, everyone put him to, death, and we're here, semifinalists. I know it's not Champions League, but it's still a cup that we still need to win. And if we win, if we make it all the way to the final and Atlante make it, then Serie A has 5 spots in the new Champions League format.
Yeah, I mean, the journey is there. The path is in front of them. There is the possibility that they could make it. Of course, they'll have to get through Leverkusen.
Never losing.
Never losing. So that I can trust me on that one, guys. I know how that one feels. Yeah, they're having one heck of a year, and they've earned it. Not going to denigrate. No way. Honestly, they play pretty football. They play effective football. They do things the right way. So I can't say much outside of actually I am appreciating what they're doing this year. It hurts my side, right? But at least there's somebody there putting up competition to make it happen. No shot against Dortmund, though, because look what they're doing in Champions League. It's, again, the competitions in Europe are getting really interesting, and I'm digging it. I'm digging who's making it forward, and it's been a good run so far. But outside of that, you know why we're here. It's for LAFC. It's what we do. And, of course, we have Araceli on as well, who had an amazing day, kind of, sort of, not results-wise, but at least you got to see the GOAT, right?
Oh my goodness. Let's be honest, I'm still physically recovering from the Miami game. It was so intense. I think we had a crowd of over 74,000. And just to see Messi in person, let alone score a goal in person, it's just one of those opportunities that I don't think a lot of people can say they've witnessed, to be honest. I mean, naturally, of course, would have liked to see Sporting get the win, but ultimately the night overall was just perfect. You had all the 96ers, the original Wizards team was there for a special presentation, and just the idea, or well, not even the idea, but to see your childhood, essentially, it just made it all that better, and it was truly a great experience.
Which is great. I mean, back to Arrowhead, which is wild. It is wild to see them back there after all of the trials and tribulations, almost losing the team outside of there, to taking a risk, going to Kansas, let's be honest, going across the river to make it happen, and actually doing better than I think anyone could have ever expected. Let's be real. I mean, exceeding expectations is the story of Sporting Kansas City, without a doubt. And again, another organization that has earned their way. They earned their way the hard way, and it is nice to see a massive, massive stadium filled, um, with plenty of SKC supporters as well as Miami, as you expected. But still, the Kansas City love was deep. You could hear it. It was proper. I mean, you had the vibes in the stadium. It was still a home game, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was definitely more of a home game, if anything. I mean, naturally, of course, there was a lot of messy jerseys, and naturally, the stadium did erupt after he scored a goal. But after that, it did very much feel like a home match. And like I said, just having the original players in there and kind of getting their perspective of everything, and just seeing kind of the overall history of this club and how far it's come. It's just one of those, you really can't put it into words, honestly. If anything, what I enjoyed the most was the the original players were questioned, of their thoughts of Children's Mercy Park and the new training facility. And just some of the reactions was just hilarious and pure. For example, one player said he hadn't been back to KC since 97 or 98, and he just couldn't like believe how everything has changed. And of course, some others refer to their children who are basically our age. So it's just funny, to kind of hear those stories.
All the way around. I mean, just look at who the manager is, right? Vermees was there from, I guess, the beginning, right? Very start. Just to seeing where he's at and what he's built in the organization. He's the product of it, right? To see a player turn out the way he did. It's impressive. It really, really is. Of course, we do have Bam on the road. I don't know if Bam, you can hear us right now as you're driving home. Be safe, sir. How are you,
I can hear
sir?
you. I'm going well. Like Tony, getting around the European competition at the moment. I hate to say, Tony, but you're going to get knocked out this round of the Europa League. Never Lusican's going to go through undefeated, as we all hope they do. But something else happened this weekend, especially in England. For the first time in a long time, Portsmouth got promoted.
I love Portsmouth. I will say that right now. I'm loving every bit of the fact that they're moving up finally after so much torture and almost not existing, to seeing them back. And Wrexham, of course, moved up into the next level as well. But dude, Pompey moving up is massive, guys. And I don't think people really understand the way the supporter culture works at Pompey. The style that they use is a little different than other English sides. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a little more of them now that they've moved up to another division, and hopefully do a little bit more. I'm sure, Bam, you're kind of on my side on this one. We want to see them go all the way back up again.
Oh, 100%. And when you have the Australian Yankees not only scoring the winner for them to get them promoted, but after it going out and leading the chance with the fans, you don't see that much from players these days, and that's what you love to see.
Right. They're not like the other clubs. It's one of those things. They're not from the neighborhood. Okay. It gave a very different element. It's, I think, a much needed one. So hopefully it gets even better this year, or I should say next year. And we see more success from them. I mean, again, it's been a hard drive, but it looks like they've got the right investors, the right football people involved, and they grinded it, man. They're here. It's cool. It's good to see. Bam, of course, there was a derby down home as well, right? That we kind of didn't get to cover because I think it just happened, right?
Yeah, there was a Sydney derby, so shout out to the Expo Monty. Western Sydney Wanderers versus Sydney FC. A lot of stuff happened off the pitch, which is disappointing to hear. Being a Sydney home game, they organised for a massive tifo to be done, and then at the last minute, the stadium said, "No, you're not allowed it because we don't want you in this area to set it up." So for that, and also some of the wording on it, they weren't too happy with due to what happened in Sydney the day of the game, which was quite sad here with a stabbing attack. So that had to get a last minute change, and then it was a last minute, no, you're not doing it, which is disappointing to see.
Unfortunate, very unfortunate. Again, You want to see things positive off the field, right? You're supposed to build up to these things, and yeah, that's all bad things. Of course, who won the game at the end of the day? Who got it?
I think it was Sydney. I didn't really watch too much of it because I was busy enjoying myself. Don't want to put myself through the torture of watching that.
Right, you don't like either team, so.
No. But that being said, though, there's only 2 weeks left in the A-League before playoff starts, and there's a chance it could be a first-round Melbourne Derby elimination game.
Wow. Yeah, we'll be covering that a bit. Can't wait. Of course, you'll keep us posted with the times when that happens. Hopefully, if that happens, God, that's gonna be fun. Love it. Love it. All right, let's get to our team and what's going on around the league. Breaking news. Of course, we are back in the Open Cup. I know we're traveling to Vegas. What is it, May 7th or 8th? Did I read that? Yeah, 7th or 8th, 7:30 kickoff. They haven't officially declared which day that's going to be. I'm betting within 2 days we'll get that all figured out. I already saw chatter like crazy of everybody figuring out flights. Sounds like 3252 is going to go strong on that one. I love you all for doing that in the middle of the week. I mean, that's testing a whole new bit of waters. If you go strong in an Open Cup game in the middle of the week, that would be pretty darn impressive.
But
Tony's like, it's just Vegas.
Yeah, that's why I was like, but is it really? It's Vegas. Any excuse to go to Vegas, I think there's a lot of people that are going to go, oh, midweek, Vegas? There's a game, but Vegas? I think people are going to, for sure.
Do you think any other MLS team would go hard into that?
I don't know. Maybe. Again, it's a quick drive for us.
Yeah.
What, 4 hours, 6 hours, depending on traffic, depending how fast you're going to. So yeah, I say West Coast teams would. Portland for sure, maybe. You never know. But it's more of like we still need to focus on what's in hand, which is beating our former Division 2 like feeder team.
We have to. But here's the thing, and it adds pressure. If we go hard, if the supporters go out, it puts pressure on our side that they can't just slough it off as a game to get rid of, because there is that mindset that we don't want our team to do, right? Is to not take this serious. Well, it's hard not to take it serious when your supporters are taking it serious, right? It leaves a little different set of pressure where you don't want to waste your supporters' time here. So if we do go hard, if we do go all out, just adds to the club like, hey, we want this thing, right? This one's valued by us. So yeah, we need to go hard. It's a good thing. Bam, you were going to jump in on this.
Yeah, not only that though, you also look at too is for Vegas, this is a great game for them to turn around and stick it to us, saying you were part of us, you left us, you shouldn't have left us. This is what you're missing out on. So not only is it a big game for us with all the supporters going, it's going to be a massive game for Vegas to try and stick it back to us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, we kind of left them in a bit of a shambles, let's be honest. Just walked out the door. Right? Done. We were running football operations to not even being a part of it anymore. And now they're back in doing their thing. But it was definitely a hard cut and leave to make LAFC 2. And so, sweet. We'll see what they can do against us. I'm thinking we'll be fine, but we should be fine. But I get it. And of course, the way the USL and MLS relationship has been lately, it's another dynamic to add to it. So again, a good one to go out and support, guys. A good one to go get crazy with. If you can, go. It'll be fun. That's for sure. I know it's tough, but hey, if you could pull it off. Yes, Tony?
There's another storyline that we also have to remember. It's Dolo's return to Vegas. Remember,
I'm pretty sure it's something he doesn't really care to remember.
Yeah, but still at the same, he doesn't remember, but he also wants to. I don't think any former employer with any like coming back to a old job, you kind of want to show them up that you've done better, Mind you, winning the chip is good, but still like showing them what the difference is when you give them an actual control or like a team.
True. I mean, of course, you always want to go back to your old haunt and show why it's not your haunt anymore. Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense. But that should be good. That should be a good run. we'll see how that plays itself out. Of course, if we do win, we get the host in the next round. In all likelihood, that would probably be Orange County. Oh yeah, we're familiar with that one.
Yeah,
The fan on the side now, and that's been a great story as well. So
our old
I
friends
hope,
at Orange County
yeah, no,
Soccer.
we know some good people there.
Yeah.
That right. I mean, really, really good people at OC. So
Mhm.
if we do play them, great. It's kind of going to be a little bit of a reunion and a hello because we know who's going to show up. And again, to me, they're a success story. I'm happy to see what they've been doing with their side, and I would love to take them on in the Open Cup. That's why we have the Open Cup. It's fun moments like this. So
If
yes.
we get Orange County, because they are fan owned, fan run now, I
Mhm.
hope that we turn around and say, Orange County go host. Give them some gate money. Give them some props that way. Help boost them up.
I'd have loved to make that our away day. It would have been great because it's a great location to go to. It's too bad it won't be. Really, I'd really love to go there as an LAFC supporter and see it from that perspective. Because again, they're doing it right. Their build is proper. Their academy is strong. They're developing good talent. Yeah, again, a good organization that would love to play in competition. That's good. That's good for sure. All right, so we got that, and the other one, which I'm just still going, wow, we're doing this now. And I guess it waited because of the referee situation and the replacements that turned out to be better than the currents, but whatever. I won't go there I won't go that far. But here's the deal. I'll just read it. Off-field treatment allows medical professionals with time to assess and treat players off the field of play in a less pressurized environment. If a player with suspected injury remains on the ground for more than 15 seconds, count that one, everybody. Who's doing that? The referee will stop play, wave the medical crew onto the field to evaluate the player. When safe, the player will be removed from the field and remain off the field for a minimum of 2 minutes for further assessment and treatment. First implemented by MLS Next Pro midway through the 22 season, continued through the entirety of 23 season. The off-field treatment rule has allowed medical staffs time to treat players while also allowing match play to resume quickly. Exceptions to the off-field treatment rule include instances of potential head injury, goalkeeper injuries, serious medical events, and fouls resulting in yellow or red cards. I have to throw this to you, Araceli. Seeing MLS Next Pro using this rule, have you noticed any major effects from it?
I mean, other than a smoother style of play, for me personally, I thought it was a positive rule, at least for
Okay.
trying to keep the momentum going and keeping the time going and not wasting any time per se. Because as we all know, Next Pro tends to be um the experiment when it comes to these new rules. And I think I can say positively that this is a good one, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it kills time wasting, right? I mean, ultimately, that's what
Mhm.
it does. It forces movement, it forces people out, and you kind of go to the sin bin for 2 minutes if you are not hurt, not really hurt. We know about that stuff, right? As hockey fans. But now it's in soccer apparently, and if you are hurt, it's going to take you longer than 2 to get back anyway. So that should be interesting. Then we have the times. This is a really fun one. The timed substitution rule. So maximizing effective match time. The timed substitution rule requires that a substituted player exit the field within 10 seconds. Really. Failure to exit from any point on the field within 10 seconds will cause the incoming player to wait for a 60-second holding period before entering the game at the next stoppage. During the holding period and prior to the substitute entering, the team will play down a player. Exceptions to the rule include injury and goalkeeper substitutions. So let me get this straight. If you get off after 11 seconds, the guy that was supposed to come on for you now has to wait for 60 seconds plus a stoppage when the referee can't allow you to come back on. So it's actually going to be more than 60 seconds, let's be honest. Dude, that's pretty rough. Tony, what are your thoughts on this one outside of not teaching our players the dark arts when we have to play CONCACAF teams?
It's a good rule, to be honest. Like, I get it, like, time wasting and everything like that, but it's on both sides. It's like, how many times have we been a victim of, we got to keep the goal going, and then like, oh, let me just walk, give everybody a dab, my players give the second captain and stuff like that. It means more time to play actual football, you know what I mean? Keep the sport honest. And it's like, yeah, gamesmanship with everything is just fun, but at the end of the day, we're here to see professionals, not I guess, acting or show or like, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, I like this stat that they added to support the cause. They said enacted MLS Next Pro during the 2023 season, 99.7% of the more than 3,200 substitutions were completed in 10 seconds or less. Again, this goes back to Araceli as our MLS Next expert here, and you've seen it. It works, doesn't it?
Hold up, over 3,000 substitutions? No wonder I was so
That's what they're
exhausted
claiming.
last season. Jesus. No, I mean, honestly, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about the first rule. It really did prove to be effective and try to eliminate time wasting as much as possible. Now, I will say when they first enacted the rule, there was a little confusion, which is normal. But after a while, the players kind of got used to it, and you just saw a better run of the game, really.
I hope. Of course, they won't.
Now, how is
Because
it going to
it is
work
one.
for MLS?
Yeah.
I am a little more curious on that because, as Tony pointed out, it does tend to be a little bit more of a showmanship depending
Mhm.
on the player, where they do take their sweet time getting off the field. So I do see it not necessarily having a negative effect in the beginning, but you might be seeing some delays because naturally, I don't think everyone's going to get used to it right away.
Since we're doing this,
Question,
can we do this in
Araceli.
league? Yes, go for it. Go for it.
When they were doing it in the MLS Next Pro, were they just going off to the whichever was the closest side, or were they always going across to the interchange area?
They just kind of went off where they were the nearest.
Which is what MLS is going to do now.
At least that was the next pro rules. Now, obviously, in MLS, it could be a little different since a lot of stadiums aren't built like college or like university stadiums. So I'm not sure how it's going to be implemented. That's why I'm kind of saying that for this weekend, at least, you might see a little confusion, but I'm sure they've talked it through.
There's
Or at least
enough
we'll
room for
hope
them
so.
to step off the line. I mean, from what I understood, yes, they're supposed to go off the nearest touchline. That is the idea now, even for the top flight, is that you have to just get off the field. It's that simple, and they'll figure it out. You walk yourself back around. Of course, in a derby match, that could get really funky. Could see us and those other guys going through the 32-52. That should be fun. But there's tunnels. They can escape other ways. Yeah, they'll figure it out. I'm sure that's going to be a rundown before every match. Like, well, where is the safe exit? They won't be strangers to that. Here's another one for you, Bam, that I think you're going to love. Another new rule. In-stadium VAR announcements that I get to bug you about because of the Australian background on this one. VAR decisions will be explained and announced by the referee to the fans in stadium and broadcast viewers at home. The new sporting initiatives were previously announced during the 2024 MLS preseason, but were postponed due to the labor negotiations between Pro and PRSA. Other initiatives, including return to play equity protocol and stoppage time clock, took effect at the start of the season. But this one, yes, in-stadium VR announcements. Man, this is overdue. I'll go to you, Bam, because you watch a league that actually uses this effectively. What's your take, man?
I wouldn't really say effectively, but it can be good. What they'll have to do, though, is they'll have to show the replay of it in stadium too. If you just get told no, but you can't see yourself to know what's being called no or what's being called yes. So they'll have to do, to me, to get it done effectively well, they have to show some replays of why he's made that decision in stadium as well.
That would be nice. That would be refreshing if they did that. I mean, it is an improvement to have the VR announcement because sometimes it's total mystery. It's a positive move, but yeah, I'm with you, man. They got
100%.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you can like remember that
stadium, a small stepping stone.
Mm-hmm. Remember that Vela goal that got whistled down in Carson, and nobody knew why. This would have been beautiful for that. Just talk to us, tell us why. Yeah, this is good. I think this keeps things a little more honest. There's some media asset stuff that also popped in as well, but I'm seriously not going to bother with any more than what I just told you guys. We could also cover this when you guys comment because they're interesting, and we want to hear your guys' opinion on this. It will be different, and I'll just say this: if we could only implement this in Leagues Cup, that would be freaking awesome. I don't think they will. Right, we'll go right back to the old ways for that tournament to make certain teams happy. But man, it would make that tournament better. We'd actually have to all play. So we'll see. If it's successful, maybe this spreads beyond our league. I'll just leave it at that. All right, so those are the news. That's the crazy stuff. And of course, the other news was the match itself against Portland Timbers, where the referee did play a role in this one as well, having to make, well, probably the hardest decision a referee has to make, but he did. So let's get into it. Let's recap this bad boy. Yes, back into the mix, of course. 2-2 was the final score. The big story in the game, of course, was the red card by our old friend Max, who was classy enough to say hi to the 32-52 during their march to the match. And I guess he did us a favor in the game, too. Goals, of course, 2 by Bogusz. Mora got one for them. Evander got one for them. Lineups, let's throw that up before Tony gives you the highlights. We, of course, went with our 4-3-3. No shock there. Guess the lineup. It ain't too hard. Hollingshead is your left back. Valencia is your right back. Murillo Long, center backs. Lloris in goal. Sanchez, Tillman, Atuesta doing their business in the midfield and Boanga, Bogusz, and Olvera up top. The other guys, no shock, like we said before, 4-2-3-1 was the system they were going to run off of. Max, of course, was in goal. Araujo and Miller were their center backs. Mosquera and Bravo were their outside backs, with Ayala and Chara holding things down in the midfield. Evander is the playmaker, with Anthony and Rodriguez as their outside attacking mids. Mora was, of course, their target man for this game, and so be it. Let the games begin. I'll pass this one over to Tony. You got some fun highlights for this first half, dude. Fire away.
For the first half, in the 11th minute, we got a goal by by Mora. Very nice goal, and it's like, this is how we start again. We're not great on turf, so it's, again, they play it all the time. Early game, so start off to the races, but not even 11 minutes later, Bogusz with the nice goal, assisted by Mr. Timothy Tillman, blasts it in, gets it right past Max, and we're back up to 1-1 and not even. Then 34 minutes at the 34-minute mark, Ferreira ends up scoring a goal, which, again, that was a loss of a person in that one, because Tillman let him go through, and then there's our center defenders kind of lost him in the transition, and he kind of made a difficult goal, but it shouldn't have been that easy. It should have been more difficult with somebody on him. And yeah, we go into the half 2-1 down with a couple of fouls here and there, of course, some missed calls, missed opportunities again. But that is honestly the first half, and it's just kind of expected at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the story of LAFC was kind of that microcosm of the first half there, right? You give a couple cheapies up, not totally cheap, but still blown coverage, blown assignments, Murillo not having the best of days again. And yeah, back, even though, we did have the chances to do the job. But second half, of course, we knew we'd have to step back up again and get into this thing, and we didn't take long to create a situation for this. And honestly, the pass that started this all off was fun to see. Let's be honest. How did it break down, Tony?
In the 48th minute, Max with a red card, very reminiscent of a red card in the finals, but him playing for our team instead of the opposite team. Boanga kept on sides barely, and gets the ball, flicks it to the right, enough for Max to try to attack him and stop the play outside the box. Now, that is the reason, most likely, the red card was given a straight red, because it was outside the box. Inside the box, it's more questionable. You can go more of like yellow, I would say, depending on what the referee wanted to call. And again, it becomes a penalty kick at that moment. But it was a red card, straight red. Max goes off. We're down to 10 men. And again,
They're down to 10 men. I know Max. You say Max, right? It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Down to 10 men.
Down to 10 men. And Matt, and then Bogus with a nice, beautiful, hard driven dead ball free kick with the wall not jumping, which was kind of weird. I understand, like, if they jump, you can shoot under and everything, but they didn't have, and I think they didn't have the extra man to put someone below the wall so they could jump, because if they jump, that ball gets blocked, it doesn't go in, keeper's not ready for it as well, so it gives it to the brace. And there's, besides that, many missed opportunities. There was a foul by Ordaz that was called. That was, again, at this point, the ref giveth, the ref taketh, and that was taketh. And, if that doesn't get called, Mr. Tillman scores another goal and is, our lead, becomes more of a leading goal scorer. But there was, again, more missed opportunities. We came out with a point, luckily, but it should have been 3 instead of 1. But we'll, at this point, take points as we can.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it feels like a massive wasted opportunity. That's why I say not enough. You had a man advantage for the majority of the half, and you buried a free kick on the exact play that got you the red card. So you took all advantage away from the foul in the first place. You have to win this game. You have to pummel them. You have a man advantage. I do not care who they are. You have to take more from this game. It just has to be that way. There are missed opportunities. We did see them. We are very wasteful with our opportunities. It keeps happening. But we let this one go away. And there was a lack of intensity in this game, at least I felt. A lot of stuff kind of was through the motions at time in that second half. Just the urgency just wasn't there. And it's one we're going to regret when it comes to September, October, when we're talking about standings and magic numbers and all that stuff. These are the games you look at like, boy, those were 2 points we could have really used at this point of the year, right? Oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. Well, you could have done that. And that's where this is. It's tough. Like, oh, yeah, well, we're finding ourselves. Yeah, but 2 points are 2 points. Those haunt you. They always haunt you. So it's tough to see how it is. Now you come home, you have to play probably the hottest team in the league, who should have won with a man down. Let's be honest. They had a killer opportunity at the end. They should have stole their game. Now you're in it. Now it's going to be a tough one. And your chances won't be as open as they were in this game. And you have to be more efficient. So, yeah, building on what we thought we were going to build, to me, feels like a setback. I know, Araceli, you didn't get to watch the whole match because for very obvious reasons, but just looking at the way the results are with LAFC and the up and downs of it all, I mean, they got to feel a bit frustrated right now, right?
Oh, I'm sure there's definitely a lot of frustration going around in the locker room because it's like how I've said a few shows back. I always do my best to try to be the optimistic one. If LAFC is going to make any silly mistakes, now's the time to do it and not when it really matters months from now. But it's already going on May and there's still, I don't know what the issue is or what the situation could be, but they really need to start figuring it out because pretty soon we're going to be going into Open Cup play, we're going into Leagues Cup play, and we all know how intense those schedules can get.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, since Vela left, I have to say that because window's closing. The identity that we had before, we do not have now. And we're still fighting to find what identity we have. At home, we have an identity. Clear cut. We know how we play at home. But the minute we leave the friendly confines, what are we watching? Every week's a different team. It feels, even though the lineup's pretty much the same, it feels like we're watching a different team every week on the road. The approach seems to everything seems just like a different roller coaster of an experience. And there are halves where we kind of take it off. At least it feels that way. I don't think I'm crazy in that. Tony, I'll throw it back to you. I mean, there's a little bit of an identity crisis when we play on the road, and there is a lack of consistency, correct?
Yeah, we're lost. We don't know, like, it used to be like, all right, Vela and Bouanga up front easily. Like, Vela can slow it down. He's not as quick as he used to be, but can still slow it down and have fun while you have Bouanga running the wings. Right now, it's honestly the only identity that we have, if anything, in a way, is Bogus playing the number 9 position until summer, until Drew comes in, and he's been filling that in well. But after that, it's like Bouanga is just not there. Oliveira, of course, is just there's something there that doesn't seem to be clicking at the moment, and who knows if unfortunately we have to bring up this name, be another B-Rod situation where he does everything in the first 2/3, but in the final third, it's just not there, or he just wings it and gives it up. But there's no definition. Midfield, we finally have a solid midfield where there is a identity there, but we need the front three to perform and put it in, because we have to wait on Atuesta to score all our goals, because I don't see Ilie scoring that many. Or sorry, actually no, our top goal scorer, exactly, Mr. Himothy, to score everything, and it's just like, which is good for him. His stock rises, but that's not the greatest thing for us when we have a new contract for Bouanga, which he wanted, and now he's not performing for it.
Well, we had to have players step up this year. We knew this. And 3 of them really have. Bogus stepped up. Tillman definitely stepped up. We were in the conversations before this season started. Is he going to be in the lineup? Is he not? How do you take him out now? Right? He's the guy. And Atuesta has stepped up. Right? Ilie is doing his job. His role he is doing. I cannot fault the midfield. And in a way, Bogus at times seems to be a 4th midfielder for us. Because he has to be. Right? He's forced to be. But up top, I mean, our wingers are not on the level right now. I know Denny's got goals, but the leadership aspect, is it there? Right? It's not. Oliveira, is this the upside that we were looking for? Is this his height? Have we hit a ceiling here? I don't know. It feels like it, and that's not good. Center back situation, same story. You lead out of the middle, right? You lead out of the back, and Murillo is the guy that's most likely to be a different player every game. That's what it seems to me. So really, it's really that gut check. And now you're gonna have to get real. Again, we'll cover the next game, but now there will be no room for finding things out in the middle of the game. You have to show up. So yeah, tests, we've got one. And we'll see who passes, we see who fails this week, but we're having a really hard time finding a club identity at the moment, at least on-field identity. At home we see it. We don't see it at the road. All right, so we got that. Bam, do you want to tune in on this one? Or you want to wind up this? What are your thoughts, man? It's like he can't quite hear us. Oh, there you
go. Yeah. My question about doing a scoring goals like this. If only Bouanga can get his scoring boots on, not meant absolute sitters like he has been, which we know he can just score absolute screamers, we're going to be a huge force to deal with. Where who does an opposition team mark? Does that mark Bouanga? Does that mark Tillman? Does that mark Bogus? Having these midfielders scoring these goals, we would have been screaming for this when we had our forwards scoring goals. Now our forwards aren't scoring goals. Something's got to change. And when you're talking about the away games, I don't know what's happening on the flights. It's like the moment we step on a flight, we're not LAFC. We're too scared to leave LA.
Yeah. It's off. Something is definitely off. I don't know if it's a lack of leadership, lack of experience, what it is. I can't call lack of experience. Look at the lineup that we have. But yeah, it's definitely lacking. And yes, it's nice that we get to go home so often like we do this weekend and try to find ourselves again, which we usually do. But we can't play the season like this. This is gonna kill us. This is when you start getting losing streaks, when we miss opportunities. So yeah, cautionary tale here is what we're looking at, and we know what's probably coming in the summer, but you better figure yourselves out before that happens, or else it's a 500 type season, and way too much talent to be that kind of team. So there we go, little Debbie Downer vibe from you guys, but I think accurate for sure. Let's get to comments, then we'll go into some LAFC 2 and community coverage. Let's see where you guys are at on this one. There's a lot of you on here. Got 19 comments in the waiting. Let's go for it. Mendo is the first in the mix. Mendo's a little thrown. He thought Araceli lived in LA. No, she's on the middle of the night from Kansas City, Kansas side. Yes. So there you go. Kind of sort of right, Araceli, near Kansas City.
No, I am in Kansas City. I'm just on the Kansas side of it.
All the way over. So if you haven't been before, it's the beautiful side of Kansas. I can say that. A little more green. You know, I love both sides.
More affordable.
The affordable side of Kansas City, yes, with a speedway, a Bass Pro, and a really nice soccer stadium. I will say that. Mendo says there's no BAM emoji made yet. We need a BAM emoji. We do. We agree on this. All right. Mendo says now it's May 8th, 7:30. There it is. Yeah, it was first announced as 7 or 8. It's 8. There you go. Dave Gomez, Vegas and Open Cup is a hell yeah, right? That's fun. Let's see. Yeah, Mono says most likely see a different lineup. Yeah, Open Cup. That's the worry, is that we're gonna go to minor league with it, and that's gonna be trouble. We hope that's not the case, but you know how this team's been lately. Jonah B's happy about the OC vibe. Yeah, I really do hope we get to play them. Mendo's also looking for a turnout. Let's see what we got. Black and Gold Phil, I see you on here. Let's pop that up there. There's Phil. Yeah, good evening to you. We have William Diggs. He says thoughts on Vela unfollowing LAFC. A little bit of a high school vibe, I gotta say. Who knows? Honestly, he's not the social media guru. I think his wife is. Right. We all follow his wife to see how Vela's doing, because Vela ain't giving the updates. So yeah, there's that. Doesn't sound good. Not promising. That's for sure. Mendo says players themselves at times do not know what the referee called, but this is good for everyone now. Agreed. Clarity, right? Mendoza says Noe or Dasso fouled Miller. Neither had possession, both battle for the ball. I think we're with you on that, man. It was soft, very soft. Michael is on. Of course, if you see the little lovely Bayern pin up here, clothespin, that came from my good friend Michael. Thank you, sir, for the gift. Awesome. You're right. I think it's a great week. Liverpool, West Ham, Man City, Arsenal, all eliminated. What a great week. I guess they're getting less spots next year. I guess. Yeah, there is that. And of course, Bayern, as sad as the weekend was, the midweek seemed pretty good. Yeah, we don't stay down for too long. Yeah, there's that. So he gives the Mia San Mia. Of course, that means we are who we are, right? And so yeah, I'm liking the way the tournaments are turning out. Mendo says, been watching Red Bulls. They do look great dude. They're great offensive. They're great defense. This is probably the nicest I'm going to talk about a team this week that we play against, because yeah, they've kind of figured things out. Mendo says, where will Kamara get good crosses? Palencia and Campos seem more probable. Right, he needs. So here's the deal. We have a target man, but that requires someone to hit a target. He is the target you're supposed to hit, and he hasn't got the service yet. Let's be real, he hasn't. When you all decide to bring that ball into the box, you'll get some stuff from him, but service has to exist. Agreed. Man, says, I don't like criticizing Murillo. He shows passion. Do we love him? Trust me, we love him, but we get a different Murillo every week, and we need the old Murillo back. We need what we know from him. Again, he's a lion at home, so I expect him to be a lion again this week. But man, it's been tough. Again, the long partnership's been pretty wild. And of course, now we have let's be real, a new center back sitting on the bench right now that's won an MLS Cup. So I guess there's added pressure, right, Araceli? I'll throw it to you now. We do have a new face in the house that might be able to take a spot if necessary.
It's very possible.
Yeah. So we
I'm
will
leaving
see.
that.
We will see. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We're not saying anybody should lose their job, but dude, you've got an MLS Cup winner on the bench. So, Mendo says, last time it's Joseph with an Open Cup shirt. Now Araceli rocking MLS Cup tee. Where do y'all purchase them? Okay, so if I didn't wear it to an amusement park this weekend, I'd wear it again tonight. But hey, I get it from the cup.us. Okay, the cup.us is an Open Cup Twitter account and website who's covered the Open Cup for a very long time, and for some period of time was kind of your only real news source to follow Open Cup. And so if you've got any real history with this, you know that the cup.us has always been your reliable, consistent source of independent journalism related to the U.S. Open Cup. Yes, U.S. Soccer is getting better at promoting its own tournament on social media, but the cup.us, has been consistently doing it. And the proceeds when you buy the shirts go to keeping that site open and keeping it up and running. So that's why I purchased it. I think it's great. And the cool thing is, no matter who you root for, they have a color scheme for every team that participates in the Open Cup. Every team has a different color scheme that you'll get your own color scheme. So it's kind of cool. So Vegas fans, go for it. OC fans, go for it. Support the cause. That's for sure. It's another way to support, again, a longtime supporter of the game. So that's where I got mine. And of course, MLS Cup. Araceli, is that from the website? Is that from Fanatics?
It's actually from Columbus at the stadium.
There it is. Yeah. Rough memories, but it was a nice stadium. That's for sure. Coming home sick from that wasn't fun either. I'll just throw that out there. Thank you, Ohio. Mendo says Heart of LAFC live from LA, Kansas, and Australia. We're from everywhere. If we can talk Dave into it, maybe we'll get it. We'll get it from the Netherlands as well for fun and games. Yes, it's an international crowd. If you ever saw the plots of like where our listeners come from the podcast side, not just the live side, it's a pretty good international crowd. So again, we're thankful for all you guys that do listen in on this, because it is a pretty good international audience that we do get. We're humbled by it. It's cool. We dig it. We just like that you guys are still supporting us after 341 long episodes. Thank you guys. Yes, and we come from all over, but you got to understand, like for Bam, I think he still has the record for the longest trip to see an LAFC match, and that was for opening day in Seattle, where I kind of injured the man in the process as we're building flags in a bar. But yes, Bam does have that, so he's been real since day one. So, and Araceli as well.
With that
Mhm.
trip, I can't thank my partner enough to allow me not only to go, but go by myself to hang out with you and all the other boys. That was an amazing trip and one that I'll never forget.
And we again honored every time Bam comes up this way. Love the guy. We miss the guy when he's not here, but thankfully we have this podcast. We can talk to him every week and do our thing. So, Bam and I go back even past the LAFC years. So, all good things, all beautiful things, and we can't wait for him to come back. Hopefully sooner rather than later. All right, we have Mendoza says, cool. Thanks for the heads up. Actually met you guys, Joseph and Tony at Columbus. But busy, crazy times, right? But hey, hit us up when we're at the stadium. I'll be there again this weekend. You know where Tony's going to be at. What's what we do? Maybe he won't get interrupted this time. He'll get his coffee. He's much happier, Tony, when he gets his coffee. So,
Oh my God, let's not talk about that. Anywho,
I'm
besides the
not
point.
going there. I just went that far.
I know, but this
fun
is
time.
if for people who are there, they know. But besides the point,
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, Tony.
No,
Uh-huh.
leave it alone,
Uh-oh.
Bam. Leave it
No.
alone.
No. What's your coffee order?
It's easy. It's a cafe hola with horchata iced coffee all the time. Unless it's super cold, then I just get a regular one, a regular hot coffee.
Yeah, Cafe de Olla.
Just go through out there. Anybody wants to buy him a coffee and go chat with him before the game, go for it.
Yeah,
Mhm,
he won't mind.
mhm,
He won't mind. There are no limits to the coffee this man will drink. So,
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
That is true.
dialed in. Trust me. The man can handle his caffeine, people. It's good.
Even though it was
Yes.
weird when we were all in Columbus, I think you and I both had coffees except for Tony.
Yeah, I actually went across the street. They were all hanging out
So
just
did
waiting
I.
for the
That's
march.
right.
And I'm a teacher. If I don't have coffee in my system, it's the end of the day, right?
I think I had Red Bull, Monster, and
Yeah, I
something
know.
else.
You had the alternates.
Mhm.
The
I
alternates,
like
man.
so many other things. I don't even remember. I run on caffeine. I don't know how I'm not dead
What
yet
we
because of
do.
it, but
That's how you have podcasts at 23 p.m. and we're still going strong. So yeah, that's how it runs. There it is. All right. Love it, Mendo. Thank you for the comments, man. All happy times. Guys, definitely jump on, throw your comments in there. We love what you have to say. If it's on tilt, we love it even more. Again, fire it at us. We love to hear it. That's for certain. All right. So we got the Timbers highlights down. We got that down. All right, we definitely. I think before we do a community, let's just get to more football and talk about LAFC 2 and get the update from Araceli because this was a fun one. Let's be honest, and the players that we're missing in Portland, I think we found them, right, Araceli?
It was definitely a stacked roster with some of our favorites, I will say that. But before we get into that, with LAFC 2, they are back on top. The boys delivered Ventura their first loss of the season in a 2-1 victory at Titan Stadium. And as we've already kind of alluded to with the roster, joining the usual players that you would typically see, like Ordaz, Duenas, Mueller, was our good friends Eddie Segura and Tomas Angel, which made an interesting match to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts on Angel before you talk about the results? But good, bad? Where you at on this?
He seemed to control the ball well, in my opinion.
There we go. And of course, there was a first ever tifo at an LAFC 2 game. Mario, we love you, man, for getting that set up. That was beautiful.
That was really nice to see, I will say.
There it is. So yeah, let's go with the highlights against the fake Carson side.
Well, as I was saying, it was practically a first half dominance that ultimately sends the boys back to the top of the power rankings and placed them under Ventura by 1 point in the Western Conference standings. To start it off in the 30th minute, Mueller, our favorite player at this point, he runs the ball into the box, passes it to Ordaz, who then taps it in for a clean finish to give LAFC 2 the lead. Only 19 minutes later, Mueller again. LAFC 2 is awarded a set piece where Mueller sends the ball over the wall and tucks it into the upper right corner to double the lead. This match was just absolute dominance. Even though on paper it looked a little even and Ventura did dominate possession by only like 2 or 3%, very minimal margins. But going into the second half, they did try to start a comeback, and they were very close to, because in the 83rd minute, Ventura's Aaron Bebout, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, he ultimately steals the clean sheet by downing a long pass and plays keep away with the back line to then just slot it in for a chance to pull one back for Ventura, which gave them life for a brief moment. But ultimately, LAFC 2 pulls out the win, and it's just great it was a great way to end a Sunday night. Let's put it that way. Now, moving on, the boys, it's actually a bye week for them for this weekend. Their next match will be next Sunday, April 28th, when the boys host Timbers 2 at Titan Stadium. It's a 1 p.m. kickoff, and the match will be streamed on the Next Pro site. Now, of course, given that it will be next weekend, of course, next week I will kind of give you guys a reminder. And as always, we're very quick to post any reminders on our socials. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed with LAFC 2 this season. They seem to have a great start compared to last season. And I do kind of want to ask you guys out of curiosity, since we were talking about Open Cup, if you guys do remember last year when LAFC played Monterey Bay, it was basically LAFC 2 that played. Let's be honest.
I do not want
Do you
it.
think they're going to
No.
repeat that for Vegas?
Please no. Please no.
Yes.
Please no.
I'll be
I
the
see it
Debbie
happening.
Downer and say yes.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to see it like Tony. I don't. I think it's messed up. That's why I really want the supporters to go hard for this one. Force some hands here, man. Right? You go out there, play a lousy lineup. I will say lousy because you're in a real competition here. Treat it like one. Not a rinky-dink one that played in 1 month with off rules that don't match your league. This is a real one. It would make me angry to see them do it, but I feel they will because I'm not sure the club's that dialed in on the tournament. I question the dedication to this tournament until otherwise, because we surrendered a home defeat to our arch rivals because we were unwilling to take the tournament seriously last time around. So I feel that we might be in the same boat. I hope they learn their lesson, but I'm not holding my breath. That's my take. Bam? Said something.
For me, I think it's going to be more of a blended one where I think you'll see some names that have been in and out of the first 11 and maybe a couple of experienced heads drop back to the next pro side to going for the US Open Cup. So I can see like Kamara starting in the US Open Cup. You might see a few of our experienced defensemen be in the US Open Cup, but for the midfield and the strikers, I don't see many of our starting 11 being in that.
I mean, we do have some guys. Again, if you do use the reserves for your top team, I think that's a much better option than going straight LAFC 2. Like if Chanot's out there, right? Some other veterans, then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. You can experiment too in the Open Cup, and you'll still be fine. But at least blend the lineup. I dare them to. I do. Don't do what you did last year. That's all. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Araceli, what do you think? You think it'll be a blended lineup?
I think it would be definitely a little bit more of a blended lineup. And of course, I'm not trying to throw any conspiracy theories out there, given that Eddie Segura and Angel were part of the lineup for this past weekend. So they could potentially already be experimenting with some plays. But given even the scheduling alone, the Vegas game is on Wednesday, May 8th, and LAFC 2's next home game won't be until that Sunday, which is actually Mother's Day. So given their track record, I see it being very possible where they can send a heavy LAFC 2 influence roster, I guess is the best way to word that, for Vegas, and then have them return home for that Sunday match.
And of course, on the weekend before that, we're in San Jose for a rivalry match. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it does complicate things. Again, if you didn't get major minutes against San Jose, I guess you're getting major minutes in the Open Cup match. I think that's fair enough. I get that. Still have some senior players. We'll take it. So yeah, we'll throw it to you guys what you think we're gonna do. I really do hope we take this one. Honestly, the way it's built, it's really built for us to take this cup. So let's take it. we need something, guys. Come on now. All right. So let's move it on. Some community news from Tony. What do you got for us, sir?
Pretty much again, tailgates are going to be happening this weekend since it is a home game. Happy 420, everybody. This is, I think, probably the first one for LAFC on 420. So have fun with that as much as you can. Smoke responsibly on this one. This is the weirdest one to say. Usually it's drink responsibly. It's smoke responsibly. But with that being said, 3252 membership is still available. If you have not gotten your membership, make sure you sign up. It helps out 3252 with flags, drum repair, tifos, anything like away days, anything like that. There are 3 tiers, of course. Each tier gets its own little thing. The first tier, of course, you get the scarf pin and discounts at HQ. Second tier, you get a beanie, which is actually a really good beanie. I love it, by the way. And the final tier, you get a cross bag, bum bag, fanny pack that is clear. Of course, to apply with the new rules at BMO Stadium, where clear bags are the only thing that are available to bring into the stadium. Now, also the here's my spiel again. 2024 Art Show with Black Army, AIM, and 3252 will be on June 30th. Showcase how you feel your culture is represented in the city of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a melting pot of cultures, and whether you are born there and raised here, the city makes you feel like we belong. Painting, sculptures, photography, all mediums are welcome and accepted. Deadlines for submissions are June 23rd, 2024. Reach out to bagivesback@gmail.com. And for the final thing, of course, is the Mo Facio futsal court. It's still going on. Try to donate so we can get this court built, so we can finally have some tournaments, some fun time, have the community enjoy this stadium or futsal court that we're trying to build for the community, and also honor our fallen brethren. And that is all for community news.
Thank you, sir. Well done. All right. For you, the preview, of course, we do our Black and Gold Vinyl Club minute. Heard a band today on the radio. Thought they were pretty cool, so I'm going to run with that. I know normally a lot of times we'll try to connect cities and all. So, heard a band. I didn't know they were from Melbourne, Australia, so it kind of tripped me out. I'm like, hey, Bam, you didn't what? What is this? Basically called Amul and the Sniffers. It's kind of a throwback type of punk, like something you would have heard in a garage when you were a kid back in the day. Kind of fun music, kind of weird music, but it's catchy. I think catchy would be the name of the day. But yeah, pretty good stuff. I think the album that I like is Comfort to Me. Came out in 2021. Freaks of the Front's kind of a cool song. I think there's Hurts on that one as well. Guided by Angels. Yeah, pretty good album. Bam's probably laughing at me like, those guys? Yeah. But I'm going with that one. I don't know. What do you think, Bam? He can't hear us. Okay. So we lost Bam for a little bit there. But yeah, that's what we're going with. Maybe he'll catch us a little bit later, but that's the Black and Gold Vinyl Club minute. All right, let's get into it. Why you want to be in here? That's right. Let's talk Red Bulls. Let's talk LAFC and what they're doing, which is a huge change for them this year. They're looking proper. That's for sure. Of course, as we get into this, we're at 3-2-3 with 11 points. Red Bull 4-3-1 with 15 points. Of course, we're coming off a draw after not getting a win with a man advantage. They're coming off of a draw 0-0 at home against Chicago. They were down for pretty much most of the match in this case, and could have won it late with a double post situation in injury time, where they thought they were going to steal the game. They've been looking good. They've been looking legit. They've got goals coming from all over the place. ESPN Power Rankings have them rated at number 1 because of how well they have been playing. Big match to see, of course. On the road, they took down FC Cincinnati 2-1. They tied Orlando on the road, beat up at Inter Miami 4-0. There was a hat trick, I believe, in that game. Yeah, they're looking the part, that's for sure, playing a very traditional way, actually very throwback way, simple to the wings, bring it back in, play a 4-4-2 system, which is, oh, what? Yeah, it's a 4-4-2. and very dynamic, and they do move out of that position as necessary, but still traditional. 2 guys up top doing the business. Overlaps coming in. Big name, of course, coming in this year was Forsberg, but he's not the guy scoring all the goals. They actually have, I believe, the current top scorer in the league and the top assist guy in the league. As you were into this, and you're like, really? Yeah, really. So they got Lewis Morgan. He's got 6 goals in 8 matches played. Behind that, everybody else has 1 goal for their side, including Emil Forsberg. Assist situation, though, you have Dante Venesier, who had to be taken out in the last game because of the red card situation tactically, who's got 6 assists in 6 matches played. Again, they produce. They also defend, have allowed less goals than games played last time I checked. So we're going to play a very organized side. They know their system. They did have to deal with the red card last game that will cost them. Andres Reyes, their center back, will not be available for this match. That will cost them. I guarantee you that. But they still, I think there were 2 injuries that they had to suffer as well, as Stroud came out early, and who's the other one? Well, they did have to lose 2 guys to injury in that game, so it did get a bit costly for them, but they still are going to have a strong lineup against us. I would take it. Let's see, going against Chicago again with that 4-4-2, they had Cornell in goal. Plenty of caps for them already. Reyes and Ilya Isle in the center back. Niels Tolkien is their outside back. Stroud and Amaya center mid. Carmona and Forsberg outside attacking mid, with Morgan and Venesier up top. Expect that partnership up top to continue as you see the goals and assists mount up. Game before that against FC Cincinnati, again, Reyes and Niels were covering the center back situation. Tolkien, Niels, Tolkien on the outside, Niels on the outside this time as well. Amaya, Stroud, center mid, Carmona, Forsberg, Venesier, Morgan. Yeah, looks pretty interesting. It's the center back situation, because of the red card, that's going to be interesting for them. We'll see what they do to cope with that situation, and if their players are well enough that did get hurt on the day. So that is the situation for them, but they do play dynamic. They do score goals. They do defend really well. They seem really well organized, and their goalkeeper is capable of stealing a couple from you as well. So we are dealing with a tough team. Not an easy thing to deal with. Tony, you've had a little bit of a chance to look at these guys. What are your thoughts going into this match?
It's going to be a hard, difficult game, to be honest. They're almost a complete team. Hopefully, the one thing that I do hope that does happen is if you guys don't know, there is a little off-field dramatics going on with one of their players, because the wife didn't know he was going to New York, and he is filing for divorce. So hopefully that interferes mentally with him. But overall, they're a really good team, and it's going to be a good challenge for us. Luckily, it's at home, not away, so we have a better chance of finding our mojo.
I do my best to avoid domestic situations. He has still played well under the circumstances. I'll just put it out there. And again, I don't want to get into the weeds on that one. If you were confused, I keep saying Nellis, and I said it twice. There are 2 Nellises on the team, so I should have been more clear. There's Dylan and there's Sean, so you know. Looks like Bam is home, so we're going to get him back on there again. All right, Bam, we're talking about this lineup for Red Bull, what they're doing, how strong they look, how organized they look. Yes, they've got injuries this game. Yes, there's a suspension they have to deal with, but they seem ready to battle anyways, right?
Definitely, they are a tough side. They have been for most of the year, so it'll be interesting who they bring out. I'm double checking because I believe we've got a suspension too.
We do,
which is going to be a huge loss for us. I think it's going to be a bigger loss for us than it is for them.
Yeah. Why am I going blank on who's suspended? Don't you like that one? It's Atuesta. Yeah. Dude, does this force us to play Bogus in midfield finally? Does this force us to make a change up top? Right? What's going to happen? Which brings it, let's just throw it right there. We know what they are going to bring. We know how tough they're going to be. What are we going to do to combat this team? And they play 4-4-2. That's wild. That's such a throwback. I love it. I love it. What are we going to do? Backline. Again, there are stories here. There are concerns. You have Chanot sitting there. Do we just stick with what we have or do we move on? I'll go to you first on this one, Bam, since you did bring it up. Any lineup changes in the back for you?
I don't see. I'd like to see one, but I don't see a lineup change in the back.
Me either. I'm with you on that one. Tony, do you see any changes?
Don't, but that person in the central mid might make the start. Might make the start. I feel so. Just because of the
so I'll
past
throw it to you
performance.
on that since you mentioned it. What does your mid look like then?
I have to let one of them go, and I'm trying to figure out which one would be best. I love Murillo. He does have passion, but we don't know which one we get. But it's at home, so maybe Murillo gets a start, but also Aaron Long is a faster back, as people have been saying that he does have a faster sprint time in his old age than most of the other players. So
Dang.
I'll go Murillo and the MLS Cup winner for NYFC.
I mean, you don't want to pair the former New York Red Bull and former NYCFC center backs.
No.
Former MVP center backs, both, I think.
No.
Right? MLS All-Star center backs from rival sides, now buddies at LAFC. We're all happy when we're wearing gold. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay.
No, I'm not
Araceli, your thoughts on the back line? I'll throw it to you.
You know what? I think I'll go with Murillo and Chanot. How do you pronounce it? Chanot. Oh yeah, to know.
Learn French eventually at this point.
Chanot. Yeah.
Just because I want to see a change up in the lineup. Because let's be honest, if something's not working, then we need to start experimenting.
But the process, as we see it a million times. I'll say this: I think it's going to be the same, exactly the same. Maybe the left back situation changes, and that shifts things a bit. But I honestly think it's going to be the same. My midfield situations where I'm a little bit funky on. There's no doubt Tillman and Ilie are in that lineup, but who's next to them? Does Bogusz drop and we bring another target man up top? What's the dynamic going to be? Araceli, I throw this right back to you. Who's lining up next to Ilie and Tillman?
I would put Bogusz back in the mid. He may be more effective up top, but given how offensively Red Bulls play, I don't know. If you can catch him in the mid, it might be better.
They don't like the transition like everybody else. The funny thing is both of these teams thrive on transition, so that should be funky. Right? Both teams tear people apart on transition. That's what they do. And now they both have to open up and use it. That should be fun. That should be real fun. Bam, your midfield?
I'm tossing up. To me, Bogusz will stay up top. I don't see why he would put back in the mid. So for me, the top will stay the same. Martinez.
In midfield. Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. Could be interesting. Could be interesting. Yeah, we didn't even talk about Martinez, but yes, could be there. Honestly, I think Bogusz is dropping back. I just feel it. I feel it for this game. He knows it. He knows what to expect. If there was a outlier, it would be a Dueñas coming in because defensively he can handle from midfield. I'll throw that out there. Top line, of course, if I do that, it's going to be really different. But I'll go to you guys first on that one. First one. Oh, Tony, your top three. Who are your attackers?
Boanga, Oliveira, Martinez.
There we go. I like it. Bam.
Staying the same from last games. I don't see a change.
Never changes. Araceli?
If Bogus doesn't drop back, it's going to be the same.
Right. I think that's the linchpin, right? Is once that goes, everything else moves. So I'll say this: if Bogus doesn't go back, yes, it stays the same. It stays the exact same. If Bogus does go back, we have a really cool option of having like Kamara as your target man, with Bouanga, and I would love to see Martinez. I think we know who's going to be there. The other thing is, the on Hill situation with, you know, Martinez having the kids go crazy up there with Bouanga. That would be fun. But I think alternatives happen. If they do, I think it's Kamara with Martinez and Bouanga. That'll be my off kiltered lineup. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that could be fun. That could be fun. I know there's a few comments from you guys as well, so I'll throw that over there to see where you guys are at on this one. Let's see. Got Mendo. Here's another name. He says Mueller and that left foot. Hey, what if he finds his way into the lineup? Right? Can get funky there. Jonah B says say no to LAFC 2 in the Open Cup. There you go. Marvin Chales says, I think Dola will play a mixed team of starters and some bench, but much stronger party this year. Need silverware Champions League. Don't think we're betting on MLS Cup or Supporters Shield. I think with 2 new DPs we are, but we don't have them yet. Jonah B says this is by far our easiest chance to get in the Champions League. Agreed? Or sorry, Champions Cup. We're gonna call that. Go back to that. Mendo. So it'd be too much to ask Lloris for a shutout versus Red Bull. You can get a shutout if his center backs actually play competently. It would require a team effort. That's for sure. Mendo, man of the match. Yeah, he's gonna have to stand on his head the way our center backs have been playing. So we'll see how that goes. Mendo says Jovic was the leading scorer at the time when missing at BMO. Kind of expected that to happen. He's been kind of a missing man most of his career, Carson. So yeah. Marvin Chavez. I think when Chanot starts, it's with Long. They seem more like compatible duo. Communication wise, I think so. Yes. Mendoza says Dolo's been giving Kamara more minutes. Could be a starter, but it will affect fast-paced counters. It definitely will. Don't write off the pace of Kamara though. Do I have more than 60 minutes with him or 30 or honestly more than a half with him? No, 60 would be asking a lot for him. 55 maybe. But you need a target and he finishes if you give him service. So there's that. Like I said, the other dynamic is getting young with it and throwing like Angel because Angel got some minutes in this game, can hold up the ball. Martinez is exciting. We'll see. There is some mystery to this lineup. Finally, guys. I know it's forced upon us and we don't want to lose a Tuesta, but yeah, we're definitely going to see a interesting lineup this week. That's for certain. Bam, what do you need to see for success in this game? I'll throw this back to you, sir.
For me, it has to be what has been lacking lately, which is goals from certain strikers. Look, we all know to win a game, you must score more goals in opposition. So our defense, although they have moments of brain fades where they don't step up how they should be, what's really killing us is the other end. Our strikers not being able to score as many goals as they should be, let alone huge tap-ins. So for me, that's what it's got to come down to. Just got to score goals, get those tap-ins. Hell, I'll take a 25-yard screamer. I'll take one of them. Just
I think money's on Bogus, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like Oliveira, take that touch and have a strike. I find that with him, we're too busy trying to pass into the box. Just take a shot. What's going to happen?
Get messy with it, right? It's funny. If Oliveira was able to get maybe one goal every 3 or 4 games, right? It would force the other side to be a little more honest in the way they defend. Because right now, are you that worried that he's going to finish on you, or do you think you can close down on him? Right? You could probably defend off of him a little bit more and put a little more stress on the others. Because is he really going to take that one touch finish, or is he going to need that extra touch? Right? It's hard. It's hard. Fun fact, everybody. I just saw the stat. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Denny Bouanga, his expected goals is 6 so far this year. 6. And he's sitting at 3. Well, Morgan from New York City, or sorry, New York Red Bull, 6 goals on the year. His expected goals 3.6. What? Yeah. Efficiency, people. It's the story of this team. If he can find his way, we'll be in a good place. Let's all go enjoy this one. That's for sure. Araceli, your thoughts on the match? What are you expecting from this one?
My expectations are basically just score a freaking goal. Be able to finish, because watching Bouanga in particular come up short for the last couple of matches has just been painful.
Right. It's been tough. Tony, your last thoughts on this match before we move on and close this bad boy out.
Oliveira, please. Our front three, our bench, just finish the goddamn goal.
Simple. Like Daniel Angel says, I take leading the league in shots as a good thing. I do too. It's a nice thing. Could you imagine if they put him on goal though? Like, yeah. Let's hope it all pays off. It should pay off soon. All right. On that note, again, thank you everybody for your contributions to this episode. Again, we appreciate everything you guys say. We appreciate the love, and ultimately, we're just grateful to be back on doing it every week for you guys. 341 episodes later, it's been a wild run, that's for sure. All right, time to close things out and give our final thoughts and get ready for a match. Bam, I'll throw it to you. Final thoughts, sir.
Final thoughts for everyone going to the game this weekend: drink smart, smoke smart, be smart. Plain and simple. Alcohol and drugs can affect everyone differently. Know what your limit is. Don't overdo it. Have fun. Again, mental health. It's okay to not be okay. Talk to your friends. Call your friends. Text them. Bring them to the game. Sit around. Have a coffee. Have a beer. Have a smoke. Enjoy yourselves. And if you can, buy Tony a coffee for me.
La Monarca is amazing. They make amazing coffee. I'll just leave it at that. Which brings us to Tony and his final thoughts of the day.
Job is a bag, okay? Smoke smart, drink smart, go full 90 at the game, because they're going to need our support, especially with, again, the number 1 team on the East / MLS. This is not your typical Red Bulls. It's finally back to where promising of maybe a chance at an MLS Cup. Again, still a long season ahead, but it should be going well. The only thing also I say is also make sure, don't jump teams. Keep with your teams. If you're a supporter in one team, like, I know it's a thing that they make fun of us for, but don't. It's more of a passion over impressions. I'll say that is the best way to say it.
I know who you're talking about. That's funny. Now he's right. Like, don't jump ship when times get hard. Trust me. The wins are so much better when you ride it out. They really are. They really are. All right. Araceli, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, like always with any home game, please don't be stupid. And as Bam and Tony has said, I will reiterate it: be smart, drink smart, smoke smart, every which way possible, because it's honestly going to be a good matchup. And as always, just keep an eye out for each other and be safe.
Well said. I think moderation is key for this event. Also, keeping your eyes on the prize. Why are we there? What are we doing, right? If you're in the North End, what is your purpose? To support your side to the fullest. You're in the whole stadium. Support your side to the fullest. Don't put yourself in a situation where you've compromised that possibility, right? Show some moderation. Get it done. Let's go support the way we know we can support, and hopefully get 3 points and help the boys across the line to get those 3 points and shock the league yet again as our guys find their way back at home. Remind the world, right, what it's like to be an LAFC supporter and to play in front of the 3252. So let's do it. Let's do our best and get there and make it crazy. Enjoy the day. Just enjoy it, not enjoy it too much. Yeah, do what you can to remember it as well. All right. So thank you guys again. This has been a good one. Final word. Bam.
Stay golden.
Tony.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
Araceli.
Stay golden.
And for me, to all of you, stay golden, Los Angeles.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.